Oh my God, it's Eric. He's live streaming. Everybody freak out. You are first, Bacon. First in the chat and first in our hearts. Among breakfast meats. I think it's fair to say that bacon is first in our hearts among breakfast meats. For just about anybody. I'm just going to agree with that. I mean, I enjoy sausage. I'm not opposed to sausage. I'm not hating on this stuff. I'm just saying, wouldn't you really usually rather have bacon? Usually, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. There we go. Now we are cooking with gas. So, quite an eventful day. Rachel got a prescription for some antibiotics for her ear infection. Mm-hmm. And that was good. And yeah, well, that's what they do. That's how they roll, dog. That's how they roll. I wish I could get this exactly situated properly. I guess I could move this over more. Now let's... Yeah? No, yeah. This way. Listen, I want to talk to you guys about cognitive functions, okay? Your witch function will try to trick you, while your trickster function will attempt to bewitch you. And when my hero disrespected my critical parent, my demon got all fired up. Mm-hmm. Additionally, your shadow's emerging from your relief function and getting goo all over my demonstrative slot. Yeah. Aren't they colorful? What was it? Oh, yeah. Referring to things of the world. Objects and systems. You can't talk about objects and symptoms when you're talking about cognitive functions. By which I mean, like I did when Rachel and I were at the pharmacy. I said, she asked, or we were talking about, I don't remember. That's a very TE thing. Well, that's, we're saying basically, when a system or tool or even or other object seems representative. Hi, Isaac Roddy. Representative of given functions criterion description, then we will often say stuff like the way they have things organized is so TE, or that's such an any jungle gym. Gym? Like that? Yeah. Alright, just wanted to add that because I realized I had missed one when it had popped up at the thing. Okay. I'll call it lingual indiscriminacy. It's a little less derogatory. Indiscriminacy. Indiscriminacy. Did he spell indiscriminacy? I don't think so. Nobody knows how to spell indiscriminacy. So, today for me, function-wise, is really about SI a lot and the importance of SI management. I think it's probably fair to say that a lot of ENFJs go through a series of push too hard and then crash kind of phases, which is what I do as well, but I do it with medicine. But the thing is, it's difficult to not experience some sort of consequences when one can't or doesn't attend to one's SI adequately. And it's difficult. You can't really make yourself sleep. The problem is not you're not trying hard enough, right? That's never the problem. Your father has... What's that?
With SE?
With SE? I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about? I just read this thing on COVID. What was I saying?
I don't know.
Okay, so I found Bacon says, my father has a dry cough and we went and got tested for COVID and they told us it could take 2 weeks to get results back and we need to isolate ourselves until then. Alright, so here's the thing. Now is a great time to go to the doctor. You know why?
No one's there.
No one's there. You know why?
Because no one has COVID?
Because there's no wave of hospitalizations. Just as I said there wouldn't be. I've been saying this for weeks now. Since day one, I've been saying this shit. Nobody wants to, the world doesn't want to listen to me. My fucking client, I talked to her today, she's absolutely insane about this thing. So panicky about it. Like, oh, Eric, you've got to be careful.
I was turned down at the weed store because I'm from New York.
Yeah, she didn't get to go to the weed store, inside the weed store because she's from New York. And, they're all virusy over there.
Nice face, baby.
Of course, she just went to the emergency room.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't find a regular, place, like urgent care or any place else, that would take her to look at her thyroid thing.
Yeah.
Because, why? Well, we got a skeleton staff or whatever, and we don't have the person who normally does those tests, they're not here. What does that tell you? It tells you, hey, guys, we're getting no business right now. Why are the doctors and hospitals getting no business right now, or less business than normally? Listen to me. So, the reason nobody's in the hospitals or the doctor's offices is because nobody's going out and doing shit, so nobody's getting hurt. As far as, is the government lying about how crazy it is in New York? I mean, the government's not saying it's crazy in New York. They're saying... there are plenty of stats we can look at. We can look at official stats. What we know for sure is that this will kill way less than the flu this year in total worldwide. Maybe about the same. That's the truth. Because remember, and nobody wants to realize this is the determinant point. We're talking about 10 times lower fatality rates than what we're being quoted. At least. And in some places the fatality rates are going to be even more than 10 times lower than what is official. Like in Italy, we're going to see fatality rates that actually prove out to be 100 times lower than what they're saying. Why? Because who are they testing in Italy? People who get sick. The sick people. It's like, of course, if you only test the sickest people who come in with COVID symptoms for COVID, it's going to have a higher fatality rate than the actual thing. You know, because 80% of cases have mild or no symptoms. That's what the answer machine message said when I called my doctor's office to get my Adderall prescription refilled. 80% of cases have mild or no symptoms. What? I mean...
Mild or no?
So, look, how many of those people have been tested for COVID? Almost none. So, 80% of the people who have COVID have zero chance basically of getting tested. And another 10%, it's a crapshoot. Only for the sickest 10% are they really likely to get tested. Now, with that testing protocol, some people are still clinging to this bullshit 4% number, but it I mean, where are the hospitals supposedly flooded? With what? With COVID? Is somebody actually saying that? The hospitals aren't flooded at all around here.
No. I did have to wait a while, but I'm telling you, it was empty.
I think that's a very quick trip to the emergency room, Rachel, actually, frankly.
It was a while.
I mean, you were there a couple of hours.
Yeah, they did tests and stuff, but I didn't see anyone. I saw one other person, and I heard one other person.
Okay, so how many verified cases of COVID are there in the U.S. right now? Let's look that up.
There was no one in the waiting room. I was the only one in the waiting room for hours.
The thing is, they were doing a variety of things with her, and she was still out of there in just a couple of hours. They took various tests, the doctor saw her, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
So, that's quick for the waiting room. How many verified cases?
Yes, you're right. No, once I got in there, it took a little while.
How many verified cases of COVID in the U.S.? Grim milestone. Let's see what the grim milestone is.
Grim.
Confirmed cases top 1 million. How many deaths so far? COVID fatalities. 51,000 dead. Okay, so remember, 1 million cases, 51,000 dead. Now, if it were 100,000 dead, that'd be 10%. And it's, oh my God, that's still 5% there. 5% death rate is incredibly high. We can't have 5% people who get it. If everybody in the world's going to catch it, 5% of the world's population die. That's crazy, Eric. You can't let that happen. 5% is crazy indeed. Remember, that's 5% of the people who have been tested. And remember that I retracted my agreement with what? Oh. And remember the facts, okay? 5% of the tested population dies of COVID. 80% of the people who have it have almost zero chance of getting tested. So if 1 million represents 20% of people, that's being very generous. Very, very generous. Okay? I didn't actually find that number. But the point is, let's pretend that all 20% of the people who actually have symptoms enough to get checked out, all 20% of those people get tested. Ridiculous, but let's pretend. We're still looking at 50,000 deaths out of 8 million or whatever. All right, in the U.S., confirmed cases are 213,000. Deaths, 4,513. Now that would be, like 4% or something. No, like less than that. I'm sorry. It would be like 2.5% or something. Well, what I'm saying is, Octavius Silva, 80% of cases of COVID have no symptoms or so mild the symptoms that they're very unlikely to seek any sort of treatment or even necessarily think they're sick. That's a fact about the virus. It's a fact I'm quoting from the doctor's office answering machine that I called the doctor's office to get my Adderall prescription filled, and it's got all these like voicemail server messages, like extra ones for this and stuff. So that's where I got that 80% number from. 80% of cases have mild or no symptoms. So the thing is, we can be very certain that we're talking about it's 40. Let's see, 80%, 40.
So majestic.
2 for every 8. So 4 million or something. It's like, if it's 5 million. Okay, so if in fact it's 80% that don't get tested and all 20% of people who have it are tested, you're still looking at 5 million cases rather than 1 million. And we know that it's not the case that all 20% who have more than mild symptoms are getting tested or even seeking treatment, because just because they have more than mild symptoms, it doesn't mean they have severe symptoms, and people like me don't go to the doctor unless they're actually, they need to go to the doctor because they have something they have to solve, like a broken hand or something, So that's reality. For anybody who wants to dispute this reality, you're just being stubborn unnecessarily. The fatality rate on this is extraordinarily low. Now, initial reports saying that, young people basically were immune to it have proven, at least technically false. There are some cases of younger people getting it. They are much less common, but there are some cases, and they almost all have some sort of compromised immune system. And that's the sort of central theme here is with COVID is it impacts people with pre-existing conditions and compromised immune systems. Now, what's crazy to think about is, in any sane universe, we would respond to this by saying, big announcement, for people with pre-existing conditions, isolate, because this thing will kill you, and obviously we can't shut down the world, so people are going to go about their business as normal, and many of them are going to have it and not even know it. So you need to isolate. Obviously, the at-risk population needs to be the ones who take action, not everybody else. It's just insanely stupid. They're letting us go out driving now. Well, unfortunately, it's not like that in our kid here in LA. It's like, I've never had so much free run of the place, frankly. It's just there's nothing to do. The other problem is this. Remember, we have this backlog of resources and sort of, embedded wealth in the society that gives us the capacity to do this thing one time. Why are we wasting it on this fucking garbage? This is the sort of thing that the impacts don't even come close to outweighing the costs. Even if we're right and doing all this shit, it makes less of a flood on the healthcare system. Okay, great, but what are we going to do when a real virus comes around?
I love you too.
Well, but Octavia, what are we going to do when we have a real virus that needs to actually be dealt with? when it would actually be advisable to take this sort of dramatic action like this? What are we going to do then? We've wasted all of our resources on this false goose. Remember, Octavia Silva, the at-risk population will not be able to buy groceries after we're done with this. I mean, I think it's recharging already. People are starting to just, some people, a few of them here and there. I mean, right now, the general narrative is the insane people are winning. That's the narrative. The insane people are winning the argument here insanely. Because even though all they ever say is they make these general appeals to lives, saving lives is the most important thing. But, I mean, even if that's the case, why in the world would we spend all this money on such a poorly, inefficient way of saving lives? We could save countless more lives with these resources in 50 different ways, 100 different ways, 1,000,000 different ways. This is incredibly expensive per life money we're spending. Countless trillions of dollars, families ruined, people made homeless, the overall standard of living going to drop, possibly dramatically, at least temporarily, and a fundamental undermining of our understanding of ourselves as members of a community, of people that engage with one another on the understanding that everybody has equal access to the community, and that if you have a particular risk, that you need to be the one who accommodates for yourself, not everybody else accommodate you. It's insane. Well, I mean, look. If I have a compromised immune system, and there's a virus going around that is potentially going to kill me, I agree that they need groceries and stuff. So they're going to really have to take a lot of care. Hopefully they have some loved ones. Now, of course, if we were smart, we'd have plenty of resources to help those people, because we wouldn't have been throwing away trillions of dollars on nothing. You know, here's an idea. Instead of destroying the world economy, why don't we buy more ventilators? Huh? That would be a lot cheaper. If you're really worried about the healthcare system being overrun with demand on ventilators.
I had to wear. Well, I guess I wasn't.
Oh, you had to wear a mask.
Yeah.
No, ventilator is a treatment thing. It's for people who have it really badly. Their lungs, they basically have a respiratory distress. They have respiratory distress, and so they have to be put on a ventilator, which breathes for you, basically. Yeah, and they were saying one of the big arguments in favor of destroying the world, it was, but we don't have enough ventilators. Well, instead of destroying the world, why don't we buy more fucking ventilators, Tard? Hey, Metabrat. I was talking. I don't know if you were here when I was talking about it earlier, but what I said was the initial indications that the young were more or less immune to this have proved false. That there are, in fact, cases of young people getting it. So that's true. It doesn't change anything I'm saying. We're still talking about a death rate that's dramatically less than 1%. It's not justified. We have to make comparisons. If we're going to do all of this to save a relatively small percentage of immunocompromised people who could save themselves by taking on the burden of isolating, since they're the ones who are at risk, so it's like, it's insane. It turns out basically that, yes, young people can get it, because the real factor is compromised immune systems. And while that's more common in the old, young people have compromised immune systems as well. So basically, if you're healthy, you're fine.
Yeah, they even said at the hospital, they were like, it's basically older people that need to watch out.
Yeah, well, that's what they're saying at the hospital. What they really mean is, it's anybody who's has a compromised immune system, either because they're very old and frail, or because they have a pre-existing condition, or blah 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 blah. People who have compromised immune systems, then this thing can kill them. For everybody else, it's more or less harmless. In fact, the phenomena of that causes all the problems, the lung inflammation, is basically a histamine reaction. But instead of histamines, it's like a white blood cell reaction. So it's like just as it causes them to get inflamed. It's your immune system going loose cannon off the rails, you know, and fucking up your lungs. So, I mean, I just gotta tell you, it's like, this is the problem. It's not that we can't attain some benefits by doing this. We will attain some benefits. Nobody's disputing that. It's that, for some fucking reason, nobody thinks it's important to talk about the harms. Hey, but you're getting 5 bananas. Yeah, but it's costing me $1 million for 5 bananas. But hey, you're getting 5 bananas. End the conversation. No, not end the conversation. And we're like, but we're going to save all these people that. Okay, at what cost? Kurz guess video? I don't know who that is. Never heard of that person before. Well, Metabrat. So, how, given the fact that this is not an immunizable virus, immunizable sort of thing, we can't come up with a vaccine for it, and given the fact that nobody in the world has natural immunity, and that purportedly it's going to tear through the whole population like wildfire, we can't stop it from doing so, and the only thing we can do is slow the wave of hospitalizations so that the healthcare system doesn't get overrun. Since that's the only thing purportedly we can do successfully, we're never going to stop everybody from getting it. We're just going to slow down the curve. Okay? How many lives do you think you're actually saving out of the 10 million? Or how many months of added life do you think you're getting them? Do you have any idea? We don't know if you're going to save any of those people, do we? In fact, this might somehow backfire, as often policy prescriptions in a chaotic system do. It could turn out that people get really fed up and start just sort of willfully being less health conscious. We don't know this. We do know the costs. The costs are concrete. They're indisputable. Your reported benefits, hypothetical and arrogant beyond all measure. You're assuming you know how this is going to play out. And that you know so well how it's going to play out that you can destroy the world because you're justified by what you know about what hasn't happened yet. Yeah, why not just build more hospitals? Cost a tiny sliver or a fraction of the price of shutting down the whole world. What's his position? What's his position, Bacon? I mean, the thing is this, or is he just sort of articulated a bunch of this is this. If you're trying to split the difference, you're not being intellectually honest, if you are in favor of this shit, you're not being intellectually vigorous. That's it. Okay, then he's not intellectually honest. This virus thing is very clear cut. Either you understand what I'm saying, in which case, if you're still saying I'm wrong, you're being intellectually dishonest. Or you're just not that kind of thinker, you know? You could just be, you just do an interesting calculus, you don't care about those things. I don't know. But it's so cut and dry, there's really not any disputing it. We have to compare how we respond to comparables. And there are some sort of comparables that may not be exactly comparable. We do have some things to compare against: the flu, other virus thingies, other things in the world that kill people periodically. How much time, resources, effort, how much liberty restriction do we tolerate in order to prevent or minimize risk? So he wasn't serious then, was he? He wasn't serious. If he's not advocating anything about this, he's not serious, because it's something you cannot avoid advocating about. You have to advocate about it. You're either in favor of it, you're advocating ambivalence or apathy, or you're opposed to it like a sane person like me. That's it. Mm-hmm.
Can you do me a favor? Could you pack?
Sure.
Thank you. I can't.
Oh, you got a kitty
Yeah,
friend.
that's why I'm not. I can't.
I didn't see your kitty friend.
Sacrilege.
What a beauty. I am so glad you did not disturb her.
Oh, no way. I wouldn't dare.
What an impossible kitty beauty.
She really is.
PB, Rachel and I are both admiring your glory.
Yes, we are.
You get sweet.
Thanks.
You know, when goods don't cross borders, armies will. Good point, horse mumbler. Good point. I don't actually see that happening, though. I don't see. Ultimately, the thing is, in some sense, this is going to be good for a lot of people. This is going to shake up the established, the economic establishment quite a bit. So it's like, you know, what's going to be death to plenty of small businesses is going to create room in the market for others. So, you know.
What kind of others?
I'm saying, like, if I have a restaurant and it goes out of business, well, as somebody who doesn't have a restaurant but wants to start one, they're in a great spot, you know.
See. Circle of life.
Yeah, circle of life stuff, basically. I mean, the thing is, I don't approve of it because it's not naturally occurring circle of life, right?
Yeah, exactly.
These businesses aren't losing according to a fair playing field of competition in the marketplace. They're losing because of this bullshit. But yeah, let's turn the topic back to MBT. I agree, Bacon. I don't need to be ranty. I've had well, Rachel and I both. I don't mean to say me having a hard day. It's been a difficult day, and you know, neither Rachel and I are comfortable when we don't feel close or connected, and you know, it's weird. I don't generally fight Rachel, but I got mad at her a few times the last few days, and I don't know. It's haven't processed it yet or something. It's whatever it is. It's like it's not a big deal that we're having to deal with medication that's not working properly really right now. But I'm just struck by the fact that now that I'm learning more about this, it's just become patently obvious to me what an incredibly fucked up and shitty job they did at this place she was at in New York. These drugs they got her on, it's a bunch of antihistamine style, like antipsychotics that are prescribed. They're like trazodone is not. It's off label to use it for sleep, and but that's her real problem. But it's on label for bipolar mania. But to the extent that she has bipolar mania, it's a consequence of the sleep disorder. It's not a separate thing or whatever.
Yeah. It's true.
Right, well, yeah, hopefully revolutionary, but not actually a revolution. Well, okay, as far as turning it back to MBTI, I'm making this thing here, this document, this docudrama, you might call it. And I'm trying to make a list of all the different ways that people talk about cognitive functions. So these are the ones I come up with so far. If you guys can think of any more, let me know. Criteria or values. It's possible to talk of any of the cognitive functions as though it were a criterion. For example, the criterion for TE might be called solvency or cost-benefit analysis or something like that. To say that TE is a criterion is to say that when attending to a matter, one seeks data that validates or invalidates within a TE frame and then checks against that criterion for direction. Like, okay, is this going to work? No, then I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do this other thing instead. Is this going to work? Yeah, I think so. But really, it's more like the example I used for TE today when I'm talking with Rachel in the pharmacy was the aquarium, my shitty TE. What I should have done when I moved the aquarium is take all the fish out first, and then take all the water out. You don't have to leave any water in it. Take the plants and the fish out first. And then all of a sudden the whole process is a lot more sensible and easy. Instead, I tried to leave a little bit of water in the fish in the bottom of it while moving it, and it fucking didn't go well.
It was scary. I thought you were going to break something, honestly.
It could have been a lot worse than it ended up being. I tweaked my knee a little bit, but I had this aquarium, and the water shifted the weight, and it collapsed down on me on the ground. It was not a good moment. Anyway, that's one of the consequences of incredibly shitty TE. Ordinality. What should you do first? What do you need to make sure you have done before you do these other parts? Because if you do these other parts before you do these parts, you're fucked. Right? That kind of stuff. That's TE. Order of operations. Functions. When we talk about functions as functions, then we treat them as processes initiated to do work. For example, use your TI and tell me if this is valid, or use your FE and tell me if this is awkward. In both instances, we talk about the function like a function, but only the first instance is correct. TI is the deliberative function actually validates. It's actually NI that knows if it's awkward. Now, granted, NI only knows if it's awkward when it's paired with FE, but nevertheless, it's NI that knows it's awkward, knows if it's awkward, or SI. Or SI. Or SI that knows it's awkward. If it's awkward because NI and SI know are functions of knowing. Knowing functions, while FE is an interface function. It would be correct to say use your FE to schmooze that guy, but not use your FE and tell me if this is awkward. That's actually using your knowledge function. Because, and you can know why, like, you see, the interface is paired with knowledge functions because you can't parse out whether this is awkward. You just have to know. I can't do a checklist. Let's see, is this person's comedy routine awkward or funny? Let me do a checklist and make a determination as to whether he's awkward or funny. That's not possible to do. You can't deliberate out social awkwardness and calculate it that way. So that's why it has to be paired with a knowing function. The FE has to be paired with a knowing function. Same with TE. You can't logically parse out what necessarily must be the way to fix this doorknob. Well, let's see. If a doorknob is broken, it won't turn. If it won't turn, that means there's something wrong with the turning mechanism. If something wrong with the turning mechanism, all these conditionals, but then I get there and it's just been smashed with a hammer, right? It's like, well, that's the problem with it is not that it won't turn. Why would it necessarily be that? I have no way of telling you how to fix your doorknob until I look at it. I can't parse it out. I have to interface with it. Maybe that's a better way to talk about interface functions. It's for things you can't parse out, that you have to interface with. That's what interface functions are for. What kind of things do you have to interface with? Things like broken doorknobs or the doctor that you're trying to get to prescribe you drug whatever. You know, which is, right now, I put an email to this psychiatrist because what I want to do, what I want to see happen here is for Rachel's trunk load of pills that these incompetent buffoons at Mercy in New York have her on, and there's nothing else to call them but a pack of both incompetent and ill-intended buffoons. Regardless, Janet Starr, you pull one over on me today. I got to give you credit for that one though, because that's totally fair what you did. That's okay to do that. What she did to me today was I called her and wanted to talk to the psychiatrist because I wanted the psychiatrist over there to fix this problem before it's like, no. You finish fixing this car before I take it off the lot. Okay? Like that. A little bit. Like, you know, come on. Those people are like, here, more of the shit's not working. We're done. Case closed. You're no longer with us. Thank you. Bye-bye. The fuck you will, Janet Starr. But I don't blame you for doing this. When I asked if there were any doctors there, she told me no. And I believe that there weren't any doctors there. But I didn't ask if there were any nurse practitioners there. She didn't volunteer the information, of course, because she's no obligation to volunteer that information to me. But regardless, at some point later in the day, Rachel mentioned that there was a nurse practitioner there at that place, and I was like, oh, shit. If I had known that, she got me. She got me. That's exactly what happened there. She's like, nope, no doctors. I'm telling the truth.
Yeah.
Yes, you are telling the truth. And that particular kind of thing, especially when dealing with Angry Eric, is, can't really blame you for that. It's just being a good debater and not volunteering stuff to an adversary. But believe me, don't think I'm gonna make it nice. Because you pissed me off today. You pissed me off by making no effort at all to show me you wanted to be accommodating. You should be scrambling, not to get away from me, but to help me. Why? Because I fully understand what you've done here and can articulate it better than you could possibly articulate any defense of what you've done here. That's why. And being a big scoundrel, you know that what you've done doesn't play well. Doesn't make you look good at all. Makes you look awful. Makes you look incompetent. Makes you look like, makes the New York Board of Certifying Janet Starrs Another example of government failure. Yeah, I do look tough and cool. I do. You're right, Janet Starr. Well, sorry. That's who you decided to get. It's like when you're evil, it's gonna come back to you at some point. You don't know who that person you're being evil to. You don't know who their boyfriend's gonna be next week. You know? You have no idea. So don't be evil, and then you don't have to worry about me getting my foot up your ass.
You know, it's like a really funny thing that just occurred to me.
What?
She always was interested in my boyfriends, like hearing stories and stuff. How funny is it that now I have a boyfriend that will actually like step up to her and be like, what are you doing?
Right. Yeah. The thing is, what also was indicative today, though, is I needed to give that thing my full attention, which means a little bit of pre-work before I made that phone call. Should have thought it out a bit. There's a lot of shit going on. I don't really blame myself for just.
You were driving.
Yeah, I didn't do a very good job on that phone call, but it doesn't matter because I didn't do anything. I didn't make any big mistakes either. So whatever.
Yeah, you make them scramble. I mean, even the receptionist. I like her. She's always I like her because over time I've been nice to her and she's been nice to me back. But she was like, up, like.
Okay, she can avoid the firing squad. That's fine.
No. On the phone, she was stuttering and stuff because she was like, like
Well. It's like what I require from miscreants is their dignity, because they don't deserve to have it after what they've done. And what she's doing is trying to avoid giving me her dignity. But if she doesn't give me her dignity, she's actually fucked up in ways she's easily subject to lawsuit. And she may end up having to give Rachel her money. I'm just saying, same as giving it to me. Anyway, we share our money, so whatever.
Oh yeah.
But I want justice for Rachel. But being the selfish bastard I am, now I'm pissed at you because you pissed me off about how you dealt with me. And that's just like, the hell. The hell you will. You're going to get some finger wags, lady. I'm going to wag this finger like it's never been wagged before. It's going to... The shockwaves from my wagging finger are going to blow you backwards like a ninja jutsu in Naruto.
Yeah.
Oh, there. I'm sorry. I didn't have the chat in front of me. No, I don't think interface functions can put get and receive. I think interface functions... They don't receive. That's why they're paired with the knowledge function. Okay? The knowledge function does the receiving. The interface function, it's like a handshake function, kind of. So, interfacing, the reason interfacing requires knowledge and can't be done with deliberation is because it takes data from multiple fields. So TE takes data from external metaphysical fields and external physical fields, and it basically has to convert those things into an outcome that validates on the internal physical field, Fi. So FE, it takes data from both fields, so you can see it more easily in FE. FE is taking data from this conversation and the the language data, the tone of my voice data, but it's also taking data from things like my facial expressions
I'm sorry.
and my body affect and like my clothes and stuff like that. So because FE is taking a bunch of data from various sources, it can't deliberate it out. You can't. Some of those sources of data can't be deliberated. You can't deliberate a frown. I mean, you can muse about what it might mean, but you can't deliberate it away. And one of the ways in which NHPs have trouble dealing with people on FI grounds is we tend to expect to be able to deliberate with them about their FI. In other words, well, I'm deliberating about your FI, and I'm discovering that it's making you wrong. So I would advise against it. And they'll be like, well, Eric, but I feel strongly. And I say, well, yeah, I guess so. I don't know what to make of it. But it's like, if you ask somebody to justify their feelings, the correct answer is, these are my feelings, I don't need to justify them. But the problem is that most people who are really doing that, these are my feelings, I shouldn't have to justify them, are using their feelings to make advocacies or statements, affirmations, claims, whatever. And so, okay, well, maybe if you don't have to justify it, then then you shouldn't expect me to take it seriously either, right? Because the whole process, what it means to justify something is like, is this something that I expect to be universally validated or just validated within myself? You know?
It's chilly out.
I'll turn the heater on. I'm sorry, the heater's off.
No need to apologize. I caught the draft.
Yeah,
and I
it
was
is
like,
cold.
"Brr."
It is cold, and you do have an ear infection. So Rachel
Yeah.
has a pretty bad ear infection, and I'm glad it's not something more serious like the thyroid.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's just an infection because that can be cleared up. But it is not. It is more than low risk for her because she's already had an operation on that ear before, and it's a troublesome thing for her. So I'm very much glad that we got antibiotics. And is Skills in there? Oh yeah, Skills is review functions basically. When I say, well, this is a skills test, what I really mean is I'm going to make you do something that requires you to initiate the function as a process and utilize it. So I think there's not really a distinction between skills and functions. Although, I guess, well, there is, but it's sort of a metaphorical frame difference. It's on the one hand, skills are a metaphor in that you don't really possess skills. You become habitually, or you become more comfortable or effective at certain manners of attention. I guess it might as well call it skills. There's no reason to really oppose the idea of calling it skills. I guess that would be... Yeah, I guess that is not really up here. Thank you. That's a good one. I'm going to add it. I've talked myself out of my objections. I thought I changed this already from lingual sluts to lingual... lingually indiscriminate. Lingually indiscriminate. Okay, so by the way, I'll get the link for this thing if anybody wants to look at it themselves. Let me get the link. Powdity. Oh, it's on full screen, that's why. Share. Copy link. Rachel and Pee-Pee are making some serious love right now.
Yeah.
I like that.
Aww. I'm glad. It's so nice having her curled up next to me.
Yeah, it is nice, isn't it? It's warms the heart.
It does so much. Oh, Pee-Pee.
We all benefit from you. All of us.
Yeah. Hey, Cameron. Nice to hear from you.
Hey, Cameron.
Cameron's here.
Oh, my goodness.
How nice. That is so nice to see Cameron. I need to call you. Oh, yeah, toggle timestamps is what I want to do. Toggle timestamps. I like to toggle your timestamp. So, Bacon, that's a very good question, and the answer is no. I think that they're extroverted functions, which means I think that if we're gonna be like talking about them in simulation precision rather than in reality nuance, then we talk about them accordingly. Like, well, the TE is basically modeling ordinality and then acting accordingly. So a good TE will account for the whole process, the whole project that you're doing from the beginning to the end before starting it. I never do that. Now, they may not correctly account for everything, and they may miss something. They may not always. It's not perfect, obviously, but they'll try to account for the whole process. They'll try to avoid painting themselves into a corner, or realizing too late that they should have put down the floor before they put in the furniture or something. I don't know, like that kind of thing. That's the kind of thing that TE does, and in order to do that, it needs to be paired with a knowledge function, also because it wants things to be set, to be not too detachable. Like, my dad hates surprises. Cameron probably doesn't much love surprises either. SI in the dominant slot, SI in the second slot, they don't like surprises because they want to, they need to know, well, SI in the dominant slot needs to know that, SI in the second slot. SI in the second slot, it's a tool function that tries to know everything.
Trouble, she's right.
Trouble, get out of here.
Good girl, Pee-Pee.
Boy, Trouble is well named.
Isn't he?
I don't. Some live chatters named Trouble. I don't remember who it was. It wasn't me.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
But,
Maybe it's Trouble. He's up there on his laptop.
I know one of the live streamers said, "Here comes trouble." I think is what happened, if I remember correctly.
Oh, that's cute.
There's something about TE that doesn't recognize subjects very well, a dehumanizing quality that has been stereotyped to TE, although we know it deals with agent FI related matters. Well, I would say about that, TE.
Is he still out there?
So, well, he's not. No, I closed the door. He can't come.
Oh, no, I know. I'm
He's,
talking to her.
Oh, he's talking to her? Okay.
Yeah.
This is super cloggy. So, the thing that TE doesn't like about other subjects is, what TE users, like a TE Dom, like my dad especially, doesn't like about other human beings, is the fact that they are unpredictable. Because with the tool function of SI, he's always looking to know what's going to happen based on what that person did before. Now, if they don't, even if they know the person very well, like my dad knows me very well, even then, they're subject to thinking that you always are going to do the thing you most recently did, whatever that is. So, like, one time I walked, and they remember negative stuff a lot more than positive. One time I walked too fast in the airport because I was very anxious to get outside to have a cigarette. My dad was like, slow down, you're losing us. So I'm like, I'm going outside to smoke a cigarette. I had been on the plane for this many hours. I haven't had nicotine in God knows how long. I'm going to go outside and go fucking smoke a cigarette. I will meet you with the baggage thing. Chill the fuck out, you know? So, so the point is, then the next time I want to take a walk, I suggest we take a walk around the block. What does my dad say? Well, you walk too fast for me. What? When did I become all of a sudden this super fast walker guy? It's because like last week when we were at the airport or whatever, you said you were like, you're walking too fast, Eric. I just told you I want to go have a cigarette. Doesn't mean I'm, a good character description of Eric. He's a guy who likes to take way too fast long walks on the beach.
You?
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to describe a character in a book or something, and you say, well, this character walks too fast. He's always walking too fast. That's not me at all.
No.
You have to just
ignore. I wouldn't be able to keep up with you.
You have to ignore NI entirely and just go with your SI most recent experience to think that the reason a good thing to say when I suggest a walk is, yeah, you walk too fast for me. We're going on a walk around the block. I'm not trying to get anywhere, you know? Well, yeah, well, that's why, it requires a meta-analyst to say, hey, here are the ways you are talking about cognitive functions sometimes. You should note that these are distinct things you're talking about. And some of them are metaphors and some of them are something else, you know? Like, if you're talking about them just in terms of archetypes, then you end up sounding like this shit, right? You sound like your witch function will try to trick you while your trickster function will bewitch you. And my hero disrespects my critical parent, my demon gets all fired up. And my shadow is emerging from my relief function right now and it's getting goo all over your demonstrative slot. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that when you do too much archetype, you know?
That's so...
It's just, it doesn't... I get it. It's trying to say, when you're compelled to attend via your polar, for example, like if I'm stuck in F5 too long, I get irritated and I just want to. Okay, that's it. I just don't. I like non-invasive FI, like just pleasantness in general, not really strong anything. I like positive emotions. I like good, like happy, laughing, fun times. For sure. So I think I got most of them. I don't know. There's probably some other ones I'll think of. In the meantime, I'm going to take a short musical interlude here and play this new song. Hope you enjoy it. If you don't, sorry, I still want to listen to it.
'Cause she's got
But she stopped, cause she sucked it a lot. And she then blinked her eyes and her teeth. She's arrived, cause she's got, cause she sucked. And she then and her teeth. She knew, of course, New York had forced this course before it closed. But she stopped it a lot. Blinked her eye. She's arrived. Although arrival will enter, she's burning still. What came before? Of course, New York had forced this course before it closed. Cause she's got, but she stopped, cause she sucked it a lot. And she then blinked her eyes and her teeth. She's arrived, cause she's got, cause she's got New York, cause she's got forced this course. She's got. Cause she's got, cause she's got, cause she's got.
Another round with cheap seats.
Thanks, baby. Yeah, that's Rachel singing. Can we manually add to our NI knowledge in a similar way to adding SI knowledge where we practice? Well, I would say no. Not really. I would also say that calling knowledge, introverted intuition a knowledge function is correct, but it's really the only function with the correct name. The best word for introverted intuition is intuition. It's that thing that we all think of as intuition, where Sherlock Holmes has a bunch of clues and goes, aha, it was the butler.
Yeah.
Because, that's intuition. What I do, extroverted intuition, is not really intuition.
Yeah,
okay? It's being chatty, it's lots of things, but it's not exactly intuition.
It's visual stuff too for others and like making shape, like I don't know. I feel like you could see a figure 8 and then like make a character out of it.
Oh yeah, that's true. You can convert things really easily. You can hey, I'll make these paper clips into a. Thank you, Zandy. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, Zandy.
I really do appreciate it because earlier I played it actually twice during the earlier live stream, and crickets. I didn't hear any comments about it at all. I thought, that doesn't bode well. I'm not sure I'm gonna end up. I'm not sure as I live with this song I'm gonna end up like it. Although I am though, so I'm increasingly trying to think. Okay, yeah, I am gonna end up liking this one, regardless of what. Sometimes I disagree with people. Most of the time, the people are right. If I get a tepid response on something, most of the time it's because it's not very good, and my initial enthusiasm about it is wrong, and I realize that later. But sometimes I disagree with people indefinitely. Like, this song I like a lot. It's called Compton Better Stop Barking. That it nobody nobody's ever given me much positive feedback about it, but I still like it a lot anyway. And to the extent that people don't think it's good, I think they're at least partially wrong. Now, when people say something specific about my music that's short of perfect, they're probably not wrong. So I tend to try to listen to them. When people say general things about my music, they're probably full of shit.
Yeah, but that's a really good thing to have, like, noted, because then you can work with that.
Yeah.
You know, you can, if someone has a reaction to it, you can decide to do something about it.
Right. Well, I guess I have faith in my ability to decide to know, basically, whether a given piece of feedback is correct or not.
Yeah, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, I was just thinking hard about it. If I was willing to make that statement. Do I know? Yeah, I usually know. I can't think of instances where I get feedback and I don't feel sure whether the person's correct or not. Sometimes, I mean, or if I am unsure whether the correctness, it may be because I am sure about things I need to know before I can make an established thing on that. That happens all the time, where I go, well, I have to withhold judgment on matter X because I need to know answer to question Y before I can have any kind of position on matter X. That'll happen all the time. Not constantly, but it happens a lot. But you're going like, I'm just not sure whether he's right or not. That kind of stuff doesn't happen very often. It would be weird for that to happen because I know too much about the thing that's being critiqued to be wrong for lack of knowledge, and I'm too objective to be wrong for about the other person's thing. I'm not necessarily that objective about my own music, but I'm objective about another person's critique, and I usually try to be objective about my own music. That feels good. When I go looking for a laptop I want to buy, I consume lots and lots of information and determine what qualities I'm interested in having. The current highly praised models and other information. Is this a process of figuring out what laptop is NI best, FI best, both, or neither? Well, alright, so let's start by this. When you're talking about like using cognitive functions like that, NI best, FI best, you're saying treating cognitive functions all as values. What does this behavior here best? Which cognitive value does it best correlate with? If we were to think of all cognitive functions as values, it would seem to me to best correlate with TE, which is the solvency thing. TE also is anticipating the experience of having the laptop over time. The reason that's a very smart thing to do is because you spend a lot of time with the laptop and you want to have a good one.
Yeah.
I never do that. I just go to the store and buy the one that looks like the price I want to spend. That has I know a couple features I want, I know that I want it to have at least 8 gigs of RAM, and it needs to have sufficient number of USB jacks, and it ideally would have two holes, one for headphones and one for mic, but that never happens anymore unless you get gamer laptops, which are insanely and unreasonably and unnecessarily expensive because I don't need all that video card shit. I'm not playing these high intensity, high video card resource needing video games.
Are they ever gonna bring back that football game?
I don't think so. I think it's dead forever.
No, come on.
NCAA, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's
I would totally play that.
It was fun.
I love video
You
games.
know, we could get a PS3 and get some old copy of it. I bet that game's probably increasingly going to be worth money because they're not going to make it anymore because of the lawsuit.
Yeah.
Now, if you're coming up with your dream laptop, that's not necessarily TEE because you're just saying, well, if this weren't a real problem that I were solving, but I guess that's FI. It's just FI. It's like,
that's what I thought too.
yeah, I would want 1,000,000 gigs of RAM and, you know.
I want it to be pink.
You're thinking about getting a Nintendo Switch for nostalgia purposes? I don't know.
Bacon?
How much is your nostalgia
I would get
worth?
It's I don't think it's cheap, but it's worth it. It's worth it.
Well, what I'm saying is some people get juice out of nostalgic shit and some people don't. You have to be honest with yourself if you're a juice getter from nostalgic stuff. Or it might just be like a cool idea right now and then you get one and you're like, you know what? This is not nostalgia, this is just playing the Switch.
True. The thing about the Switch, though, is that it's a console, so you can play it by yourself, or you could take off the two sides of it, and you could play on the screen.
And so is it like, okay, so, I'd have to look. I can't picture things like this. Is it small? It's like a
Game Boy. You know, the ones that used to go flat like that? It's like that.
Oh, you can put it up on the screen.
Yep.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a convenient interface.
It is. And then you can, play with friends and stuff, and you could do Mario Party, which is always fun. I just think it's a really, good console.
The thing is, of course, that sounds like also is going to be appealing to younger people who are more okay with phone-sized things.
Yeah, but you don't...
I don't like phone-sized things.
No, but you hook it up. It looks like a PlayStation. You hook it up that way, and you hook it up to the TV.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, the point is, they're also saying, but don't worry, you can still take it with you and play it on the go. So,
yeah.
Well, see, that holds no appeal to me.
Yeah.
It's too small.
No, it is.
I don't like to look at small things.
No, it isn't.
Now that I'm old and, you know, it's like, oh, that's so small.
Aww.
Hold up a bigger sign.
No, but,
I have played Mario Kart before.
yes. And, yeah, they have Mario Kart on Switch, too. It's a lot of fun.
Mario Kart!
Yeah.
I bet we could play Mario Kart on an emulator on the PC. Emulate my video game.
Who'd you be?
I don't know. I played it a few times with Corey and Charlie and Liz, and
Oh, that's fun.
yeah, they played it over there. I never had the game. I just played it when I was there occasionally.
That's fun.
I like the music, or like I guess it must have been the music. I can't hear it in my head, but it was cheerful, if I remember correctly.
It is.
I only have mine hooked up to the TV. I'm not a fan of it as a handheld.
Yeah, I would probably do the same. And you can have a lot of people play too at the same time. So it's really nice for parties. That's what I would.
Get it for Botwa. Best game ever. What's Botwa? Botwa. What is a Botwa? What is some Botwa for my pants? I was just looking for an emulator for my phone to resolve my nostalgic idea and see if I want it after.
Check it out. I mean, honestly, I would probably go to Best Buy and try it out. And if you like it there, you're going to like it. So, because they let you try out the stuff.
At Best Buy?
Yeah.
I was just thinking I would like to get an emulator for an Apple IIe and then use that emulator and try to run Photoshop in it. That'd be more nostalgic.
That is nostalgic.
Watching the computer break, you know.
Watching your computer.
Zelda Breath of the Wild. My childhood games included Ultima 1, Ultima 2, Ultima 3. I played a lot of video games. I had boxes of them that I had pirated using programs such as Locksmith.
Nice!
Back in the day when you had... Okay, see, when I was into computer games as a kid, we had those big floppy disks, the big square ones, you know?
Yeah.
They were floppy. They were actually floppy disks.
Yeah.
And the games got pretty big. Like, you knew you were really in for a treat when you had 8 discs in the box. Oh my god, this game has 8 floppies.
Wait, and you would play on the computer?
Yeah, and it would prompt you to change to the next disc when you got to a new level or something that was not on that same disc. So, and you'd sort of be, but it would, you know, it would set up so you weren't always going to change discs. Like you would play a whole level before you have to change discs.
Right.
So it wasn't a pain in the ass, really. I don't remember it being bothered by it at all. But it seems like a pain in the ass to me now. Like when I think about it, oh my god, can you imagine having to change? Like, hold on, everybody, I gotta change discs for the live chat app to read.
Yeah. I mean, dial-up still drives me crazy. Like, to think that, like, we couldn't talk on the phone at the same time that the internet was going.
Yeah, you can't call me.
Yeah.
Every time I call you, it's busy, man. What's going on?
Yeah.
Fucking my sister's on the internet all the time.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god. What can you possibly do on a thing anyway?
Right.
I don't know. She goes to AOL.
Yep. Or I can, after this quarantine, go use my friend's computer, like...
Well, I would like for Rachel and I to again do a live stream where we play a video game or something.
Yeah.
That'd
for
be
sure.
fun. I don't want to play Minecraft.
Please.
It was
Thank you.
boring. So boring.
I
So
can't
TE.
get it. Yeah.
It's so
that
TE.
is TE.
That is such a TE game. Oh my god, like why would I want to put in the effort to learn how to do all these stupid things?
No wonder we were like trapped in the hole and we were like running in the same place.
Yeah, Rachel and I got stuck in a hole. That was our biggest victory in Minecraft, was getting stuck in a hole. We couldn't figure out how to get out, we just kept digging deeper and deeper into the center of the earth.
Oh my god, it's so funny.
So
Little kids were like...
we were trying to get people to tell us what to do too, and it was like, but no, I wouldn't mind trying one more time actually.
We should. I think it'd be really funny.
The thing is, now I'm thinking about it, my TE's not that bad. I got to be able to figure out a little bit of something. We got to be able to build something.
Now you're going.
But here's the problem with it though. As soon as I'm thinking about it, it's like, ay. And then I gotta get that thing before I can get that thing. It's a bunch of that shit, you know?
Yep.
Okay, oh, you want to build one of those? Oh, you need to go find 4 sticks and 3 lava tubes or whatever.
4 sticks and 3 lava tubes.
I was like, fuck off. What is this thing? This is fun? This is fun? Go out and gather resources and build things? I mean, why don't I actually go out and gather resources and build things if I'm going to do that? I mean, that's sort of fun for a little while.
I spent 1 week in Minecraft with no progress until I asked someone for help. LOL. Oh my gosh, a week.
We asked for help and we still struggled.
Yeah, we couldn't get anywhere. Don't you remember? Like we only had like light for like a hot second. Like the day had passed and like we had sunlight and then all of a sudden it really quickly went back to dark.
I know, and it's dark and and we're stuck at the bottom of a hole. It's night, and then
And we're digging.
even though we're at the bottom of a super deep hole, somehow there's a monster at the bottom of the hole that kills us. It's like, well, was that monster underground, like buried underground, or was he just buried there underneath the dirt? And we dug, and we just happened to dig where he was buried, and he was still alive for some reason. What the hell? Why is he under the ground?
Oh my gosh.
You were able to build a crafting table after a week.
I grew up on Minecraft. I was a little. I knew Minecraft was an older game. I was like, hey, wait. I think they used to have Minecraft on computers in schools. I maybe tried to play.
Yeah, Minecraft's
toys.
old. Yeah. One time I tried playing Dwarf Fortress for like an hour. I tried playing it maybe. What? Has anybody ever heard of Dwarf Fortress? Have you ever heard of it?
No, I mean.
It's known as like the hardest, like most frustrating game ever. Or something.
Really?
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what.
Really
No, here's what I do. I'll read the Wikipedia article on it, or because it's an interesting thing. Dwarf Fortress.
Oh no, we're terrible at Minecraft. A little kid was like hitting his head because he could not take how bad we were at the game.
Shit, it's not our. No, that thing's not in either of our wheelhouse.
No.
Okay. Dwarf. This is supposedly like the worst game and the most boring game ever. Is this game where you have to drive a car from like LA to Phoenix with a bad wheels that was constantly pointing to the right.
That's a game? That's a game?
I heard of that. Yeah, I think so.
That's the worst game ever. I want to play that though. It sounds incredibly easy.
I think it's like call like the most boring game ever. Anyway, well, that's not what I'm typing before you into the chat instead of the Google bar.
You can spend a lot of time. I bet you on during coronavirus it would be great. Just going down that road. You made that?
The game poor ISTJ kid.
No, but I feel like the funny thing is that the game is missing the ISTJ. They just need an ISTJ to come over and be like, "I'll fix it for you."
I'll figure out what this thing is I'm talking about too. But let's see. Dwarf Fortress is a part construction and management simulation, part roguelike indie video game created by Tarn and Zach Adams. Freeware and in development since 2002. Its first alpha version was released in 2006 and it received attention for being a two-member project surviving solely on donations. The primary game mode is set in a procedurally generated fantasy world in which the player indirectly... Okay. Controls a group of dwarves and attempts to construct a successful wealthy fortress. Critics praised its complex, emergent gameplay, but had mixed reactions to its difficulty. The game influenced Minecraft, was selected among other games to be featured. And it's text-based graphics and it's open-ended with no main objectives. The players, but yeah, it's incredibly difficult. I couldn't figure out how to do anything, basically. It's like, what? It's like this, yeah? Look at this picture.
What?
That's what the graphics are? Yep, that's the graphics. Text graphics. It's like...
Oh my god!
I guess with ASCII you can do colored blotches or something. I don't know.
What type would make that game?
It must be INTJs.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It has to be, because it's like, who else would... Oh, but I want to figure out what this game was, like, most boring video game. Desert Bus. I think that's what I'm talking about. Desert Bus.
Oh my god.
I want to...
Sensible Train? What is that?
Wait in line.
What was that?
Oh.
Babysitter's Club?
Desert Bus. Drive a passenger-free bus at 45 miles per hour along a straight characteristics desert road from Tucson to Las Vegas in real time.
In real time?
Strictly to the highway code. That's 8
Wow.
hours. 8 hours of gameplay you need to get as stoned as Otto from Simpsons to get through. That's the bus leaves everyone's like to the right.
It's so
You
funny.
can't set it going and come back after a lengthy putt because it pulls right the whole time. That's like plus.
Oh, this is so cool.
All 8 hours of Desert Bus.
8 hours. Oh, the actual. the landscape is so generic.
There's just like nothing there.
No. How do you stay up and watch this? And how irritating! You gotta keep on playing.
It's one thing to play this for 8 hours. Who's gonna watch this for 8 hours?
I guess like,
Who in the world would possibly watch that?
if you go. Oh god. I think I'm gonna use that as my meditation for tonight.
Desert Bus, yeah. If you can't sleep, you know what? That'll teach you to sleep. If you can't sleep, you have to play Desert Bus. Okay? You have to play Desert Bus all night long.
I just picture a kid who's been up all night and he's like expecting like challenges and stuff. And he just keeps on playing and he's like waking up the next morning and his hair's all like messed up and he's like all tweaked out because he's been playing Desert Bus.
What Horse Bumper indicates is additionally a feature of this game is that if you fall off the road in Desert Bus, a tow truck comes and drags you all the way back to Tucson.
Oh my god, back to Tucson?
That's great.
Wow, that is great.
It really looks like the first half of the Tucson to Vegas trip, huh? Well, I in my memory, I always said replace Tucson and Vegas with LA and Phoenix because I'm more likely to do that drive, I guess. I just thought, well, probably at the time I thought, what's equivalent to that? Man, LA to Phoenix? Really? You watched a YouTuber who did their 100,000 subscriber special completing Desert Bus?
Wow. That's actually a really,
That's not
really
a bad idea.
great, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a big party spectacle, fine, then it's fine. But if you were sitting in your room alone playing that, it's like nobody like, God, I can't nap right now. I gotta continue playing Desert Bus.
You know what I like too is that when you like fall off the cliff, they let you live. You don't die. You just go right back to Tucson. You gotta start all over.
Yep. It does make me think like I'd like to design a game whose most prominent feature is not boringness but pleasantness. So it would be like, the pleasantness game is a game where in every instance you've got to pick the most bland but also pleasant thing from your options. Your goal is to always go with the most pleasant thing. So
tea's pretty pleasant. Like a tea.
Tea's
like
pleasant.
Tea house.
Right. So it could be, it could be called "Have a Pleasant Day," and your goal is to go around town and have a pleasant day.
You say hi to the milkman.
Yeah. Well, that would be pleasant. But see, it would be fairly extroversion, introversion, neutral. I don't think it would require you to be very proactive. That's not necessarily pleasant,
No.
What's pleasant? Listening to that old guy playing the banjo outside the coffee house. There's some guys out there playing the banjo right now.
The sound of children playing at a playground.
Sure, or reading the morning paper.
Pleasant indeed.
So, again, that would also be a game that should be played in real time. Okay? So instead of actually having a pleasant day, you pretend to have a pleasant day on the computer.
Whenever I think of pleasant, I always picture a Cape House window with a cat in the bay window and a big comfy couch and plants, big green plants.
It sounds pleasant.
Yeah.
For sure. What about one of those big fins?
Ooh.
Now, in this game, there should be, instead of run, walk, and jump, you should have stroll, meander, and lollygag. Those are your 3 speeds of walking. And they can be described as slow, extremely slow, and nearly standing.
Nearly standing.
But not quite. Can you play the game wrong? Well, you can. Yeah, I think you can play the game wrong. It's not you. You can get a higher or lower score in it. But to get a lower score, it's not a difficult game. So, there's a trash can somewhere in the game. Easy to avoid. If you go over by it, you get a frowny face, but it'll go away real quick. And that frowny face represents your sadness about trash.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe mostly you're just accumulating special perks of pleasantness.
Can I tell you what was the surprise, not pleasant thing in your pleasant video game?
What's that?
Shrinking your sweater.
Shrinking your sweater. That's a good level of unpleasantness. You know what? Here's the thing, though. Every unpleasant thing will also have a life lesson silver lining. So, after you see that the sweater shrunk, there's a momentary, just this. Well, there's something kind of nice about a shrunken sweater.
Or you put it on your new pet pig.
Or
they could be cool.
You could put on a pig, or you could you could, if the game really wanted to facilitate your pleasantness, it would have some kid walking by. Boy, mister, I sure could use a sweater.
Yeah.
Here you go, kid. And so it's like you lose points if you try to keep your sweater at that point.
Yeah.
Because you already shrunk. So every bad thing will give you an immediate chance to sort of redeem it for extra. So what was a little bit bad now is more good than it was before bad. So trying to cook something and missing an ingredient when you're halfway through, there is unpleasant. Well, that's true. When you realize, hey, you're out of oregano.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in that instance, I guess you'd recall that you, or your husband or whatever, you could play it as a lady or a dude or whatever, but your significant other, if you have one, or your kid or whatever, comes in and says, "Look what I brought home," and brings a fresh oregano plant. That's so much better than the dry stuff.
Exactly. Silver lining.
Honey, that is exactly what I needed.
That's so heartwarming. You get a random horse, some will stop and eat grass. If not kick, some will throw you off and kick. Some will do both. I like that. A random horse. But they are pleasant. There are in paintings a lot, in like doctor's offices, in like fields, because people think they're pleasant.
There are what in doctor's offices? I'm sorry, I can't hear and read at the same time. Sorry, what did you say?
I don't know.
About what?
I don't remember.
Okay. The dry stuff stores more easily, true. But if you're growing your oregano as a plant, then it lives there. You don't have to store it. You just have to not kill it. You really have to do a good job of picking your soundtrack for the pleasantness game. You have to pick only the most pleasant songs.
Ooh.
Like,
what is a pleasant song?
okay, well, we heard one in the CVS. That song, I think it's by John Mayer, like,
Yeah.
Daughters Become Lovers or whatever.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's pleasant.
It's a pretty pleasant song.
Mm-hmm.
What's another pleasant song?
What about, like, Garfunkel?
Simon and Garfunkel?
Simon Garfunkel.
I mean, I would say...
No. They're they're coffee shop.
Yeah, they're a little too... It makes it more...
Ew, Colby Calais.
Who's
Anything
Colby
by
Calais?
Colby Calais. I don't know, she's like
She's
I
pleasant.
love your heart and you love mine. I live on a beach and we'll be fine. Like,
I'm thinking maybe classical music. That'd be pleasant.
yeah, that is pleasant. In a library setting?
Like nice classical music.
Or a fire, like a fire thing.
Well, there's a lot of different settings. Each of them will be pleasant.
That's what I mean. Like, it's
Yeah.
variants.
Except for there'll be the Minecraft hole that we dug that people could fall into.
Yeah. It's fucking classic. Yeah, I'm not a huge... She's fine. She's... I don't like her either, but she is pleasant. She's got pleasant tunes. People like her.
The expansion pack can be called Horse Thief. If you don't go fast enough, the posse guys in your hang you unless you go through the Badlands, and they just shoot you. No, if you go through the Badlands, I think you die of thirst. Would be probably preferable. I like your horse frustration game. you're doomed to fail. It's like the time when I had the broken rack and pinion on my car in Olathe, Kansas, and my right front wheel was not attached to the axle, but it was still there. And it would sometimes turn the other way from the car, right? I did successfully manage to drive it to where there was a service station just like 2 blocks off the freeway. But the guy, when I got there, he's like, "How did you get this here?" And I said, "I drove it here." And he's like, "But how?" And the answer was, I ended up putting it in reverse and backing it. Once I got off the freeway, I just couldn't get it to go straight. It kept like going off this way. And basically, I backed it, and I had more control. Because I actually like turned around, and so I was like, well, I guess I need to put it in reverse now. It wasn't an idea like, hey, I should do this in reverse. It was, I was so unable to control it, it like turned around, you know. But I did manage to get it there without pushing it, or without getting a tow truck. So, I like the idea of a mob justice game, in which there's a mob, and the game's called Mob Justice, and you have to, if you're not supporting, seeking justice first on someone, which basically means, let's summarily execute this guy. If you're not advocating in favor of that, then that increases your likelihood of being among the persecuted. And let's not have them actually kill you, though. It's it involves some sort of laborious result, I suppose. But the thing is, if you advocate too hard in favor of justice, people will think you're a poser, and that you don't really mean to advocate in favor of justice. And so then you'll be suspect and potentially subject to the mob's violence. However, if you don't advocate enough in favor of mob violence, then you're obviously not with the group and therefore subject to mob violence. Now, if you behave exactly in the middle, that could be good, but then you're going to have to be a follower. And if you align with the wrong leader, well, then you can be subject to the mob's violence. What do you think? Pretty fun?
Are there lots of meatballs and pizzas?
Spaghetti.
Only
Spaghetti and meatballs.
only for the dominant group. The rest of them have to eat just crust and water.
Ah.
So, I think we've got some good games planned for next year's Gamecom Symposium. We'll introduce our games. Have a pleasant day. And mob violence. And we can also put your horse game in there too. Horse frustration. Meatballs and bullets. I say the nay. When the group is wrong at the group. Well, yeah, but it's like that's so much think about how people who are in the government in North Korea, if they're in the assembly or whatever. They're in this weird spot where they're close enough to Kim Jong-un to be, for him to be aware of them and attending to their behavior and stuff. He expects them to be, like, super rabid in their worship of Kim Jong-un, and so there's this pressure always to advocate for even worse ideas to show how rabid you are for Kim Jong-un. Hi, Lightbulb. How's it going? But to be fair, the group has powers, so you might have to play along to deal with them from the inside. I mean... It's a complicated question. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm a little demoralized this evening, I guess. It's like it's very different if you have a totally legitimate problem, a completely real medical problem like Rachel has with sleeping, and if you have a medical problem like a broken arm. Totally different experience. Should be the same thing, right? But because Rachel's on psych drugs, our medical business is unnecessarily much more complicated. And she, it's like the patient's input on the matter is somehow not really afforded the same level of respect that it ought to be. It's frustrating.
Yeah, it's true. I had a friend who, she was really in some kind of bad way, and she was like, I need to see a doctor, like, right now, like, it's really important, I'm feeling terrible, like, she had to explain, and they gave her a whole, like, rigmarole, and then finally, like, through her own, like, self-advocating, did she finally get, like, a nurse practitioner to finally give her, like, Klonopin, like, should not be that hard. If a person is having an emergency, you should be listening to them and reacting.
I agree.
And you know?
Yeah.
And acting.
I mean, the thing is, I should have gone in there with you. I don't even know if they would let me, but I should have tried. Anyway, my bad. So, the thing is, your game about standing out gives me the idea of like a game called Relationship with a BPD person, which is you're always trying to get back to 0 points. You can never get to 1 point. Okay, you're always trying to get back to 0. You're always fucking up and losing more points. You know, so you have 2 scores, or maybe more than two scores. You've got self-respect, which is always going down. It starts at 0 and goes down. Right? You've got your partner's level of disdain and contempt for you, which always goes up. Now, if you work really hard in the game, though, the disdain levels will go down a little bit. And your self-respect, though, will also go down a little bit.
Impossible game.
And if you get upset and yell at them, then they will use that to convince other people that you're the problem. And then your public respect will go down. So, and then there's an ongoing count of people who think you're the problem and people who think your spouse is the problem. And, you have to work incredibly hard just to keep it at, close, not to have it not widen the gap. That sounds like, and then your goal is to stay in, if you get like minus whatever, then you either commit some act of violence and go to jail, or if you can, it's like the breakup button is really hard to push. Okay? It's like there's a breakup button that periodically like shows visible for a second.
Yeah.
If you really work hard to get it show visible for a second, you have to click the mouse down here and it shows visible for a second. You gotta rush up here and push it, and it goes away. No, I couldn't break up with her. God damn, I'm gonna kill her before this game's over. No, that's the thing. Bacon, this game, your goal is to break up, okay? Your goal is to break up with her. But you can only break up with her at a moment when your self-esteem is unusually high, very close to 0, and her level of disdain is unusually low. And to get that to that point, you have to work really, really hard. Like, you really got to. So, for example, the game is basically a series of things where your significant other comes up to you and says, "I can't believe how selfish you are. You're such a selfish person." I really, blah, blah, blah. And then your options are agree and apologize. Disagree and apologize. Disagree and get mad. Agree and punish yourself. Okay.
So it's always like agree and some sort of negative.
No, there's one you can disagree, If you disagree, though, they always double down, and they try to turn it against you. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is why I'm concerned about you. I think you have some sort of psychological problem. They say that kind of shit to you if you. I could totally write that game. That game, I could script the thing, no problem. It's just like, and so if you apologize and punish yourself, you might successfully, gain lower disdain a little bit, but you're going to lose on self-respect. So it's very challenging. You probably just have to apologize and agree. Then you lose a little self-respect, but you gain maybe a little bit more in the disdain area. And then, of course, sometimes, then pretty soon, though, if you apologize and agree every time, she starts going, see, you're not even listening to me. You're just apologizing and agreeing, and her disdain goes up. This is what I'm talking about. This is why you're the problem, and you have a psychological problem, Eric.
Isn't that gaslighting?
It's totally just BPD mega fucking epic projection, gaslighting, ontological violence, the whole 9 yards. It's crazy. It's crazy how they act.
Yeah, it is.
It's like
Does she get aggressive ever?
No.
Oh. Some can, like...
She was just... Well, it's like when we were driving back that time from Palm Desert, early in the relationship, I should have broke up with her then. She spent the whole car ride back telling these negative stories about me, okay? So it was like... It wasn't like she was saying, I don't like how you did this, Eric. She was saying, you're just such a you're a lazy person. You're not good at blah, 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 and you really need to blah, 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 and just like laying into me. And I was not really familiar with that sort of thing occurring before. I mean, I had in that relationship already experienced it, but prior to that relationship, and that day though, I figured out what was going on. I was like, okay, well look, you're never talking about anything that I did, and you're just making up a bunch of negative stories about me. And in fact, I said, okay, well, look, Kimberly, we'll film this conversation. Let me hear you out. Let me hear all of your critiques about me. I'll film the conversation. We filmed it. She's unaware of the fact that she was doing the thing that I was talking about. And then when we watched it back, it was like she was surprised. Like she was like, and then she said, that's just how I am. And I got all mad. And it was like, okay, but surely you'd agree that this thing you're doing is not a good thing to do. Right? So and she fought the idea that it was what it was until I walked her through it and said, okay, so the first thing you said was this, right? Now is that about my behavior? And she just like finally just was like, that's just how I am. You love that, I guess, or something. I don't remember exactly what she said, but she was mad at me for making her see that, I guess.
But like,
I mean, that's the thing. What do you do with a BPD person? The problem is they don't trust you at all. They have literally no trust.
Yeah. So
they think that trusting somebody, they think that that's a no go.
Yeah.
It was like when I would actually, periodically I would sort of break down and be vulnerable with her and say like, listen, you gotta, and she wasn't even sympathetic. She would just be like, you're so sensitive, you crybaby, shit like that. I was like, what? Like, is this real? Is this the regular world that I'm in? What the fuck? What weird, bizarre world is this? Where people do this shit, I never really experienced it before, and it took me a long time to process, just because it took me a long time to even realize that that like it mattered. Like, well, whatever. All right, so she's being a little difficult. We'll just talk it. I'll just talk it through, and she'll, if I communicate well, then the reality I'm conveying correctly with my words, which is a good reality and should successfully address these things by making the other person aware of it. Well, that's I don't know. It's a nightmare. What's going on up there? Do you hear something? I did too. There's some sort of creature out there. Girlfriend's mom was bawling, told her she was the cause of all her suffering. My girlfriend tried to comfort her, then she was laughing and friendly. The minutes later, my girlfriend is down in tears. Yeah, BPD, man. BPD, it's a mess.
And on reality TV, I blame it too.
I blame Kimberly's abusive, narcissistic family.
Oh yeah. May I have the other lighter? Oh, thank you.
Sure. Have that one. I'll take this one. Okay. So, and it's really interesting how very different it's certainly feasible that somebody would make a comparison that, well, between something like BPD and bipolar, that shouldn't be made at all because it's a whole different experience, entirely different. Like Rachel and I have had a very difficult couple of days, but at no point do I feel like it's impossible to communicate, or that she's actively trying to not communicate with me. It's more like we're having a lot of trouble communicating, and it's but she's not just trying. She does some provoking to me.
I do. I don't mean to, but it's like that frustration from not being. It's just goes past.
Yeah, we were both pretty frustrated in the car today when we got to the hospital.
Yeah.
I'm glad I took you. I'm glad that.
Yeah. I'm glad too.
I'm glad you went, and I'm glad you got antibiotics.
Yeah. It was cheap.
It's good.
Yeah.
And it's like, here's the thing. As things were sort of, as your ability to sleep was kind of failing you, which was around the time when I got that bottle of Adderall, right? Which is what makes me go, it seems like we're kind of linked in our sleep. Because at that was a time also when I shifted out of wanting to lay in bed all the time and nap and have FI time and stuff, back to work mode,
Mm-hmm.
So regardless, it's one of those things that it shouldn't be a long-term issue at all, because we need to get pills that make you go to sleep. You're doing pretty well right now, considering how little sleep you've gotten over the course of the last 4 nights or so. How much sleep do you think you've gotten over the last 4 nights?
I don't want to know.
And that's despite taking a bunch of prescription pills that are supposed to make you go to sleep.
It's never happened before.
She got antibiotics because she has an ear infection.
Mm-hmm.
She thinks that's probably contributing to her difficulty sleeping as well.
I think so.
Makes sense. She got some antibiotics for that.
Yeah. I think I did something to
Your
my
jaw?
eardrum.
Your eardrum?
My eardrum.
With what or how?
Sometimes I blow my ear.
Oh, I see that
Yeah.
thing. Okay, well then, yeah, I'm sorry if that
It's
happened,
okay.
but
What?
I'm sorry that happened. If that happened, you know.
Thank you. We got the drops and stuff. It'll be okay. I get my left ear. I told you.
Yeah, she's had an
Yeah.
operation on it and stuff.
Forever. It's been.
It's susceptible to problems.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, anyway, guess I'm kind of tired, kind of, emotionally spent. Even though I know what I know about the big picture stuff, this is a perfectly not big deal-y kind of hoop in the process of getting the thing solved properly.
True.
You know? And so I try not to put any weight into this in terms of big picture statuses at all, and also you know, I recognize that is therefore as a consequence there's nothing to feel particularly demoralized or bad about at all, but there have been a lot of negative emotions flying around, and I guess over time it sort of makes me FI tired. I feel kind of FI tired. That's why I think I'm going to sleep tonight. I feel pretty damn FI tired.
Yeah, me too. I've been crying.
Yeah, you have. You've been using your eyes to cry.
It's good. I wish my crying was more appropriate.
I appreciate you crying too. I do.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, at least
Thank you, Sandy.
authentic crying means trust to some extent. And I appreciate that. I cry around you as well.
Yes, you do.
Sleeping. Starts in 30 minutes. That's what my phone says anyway.
Huh. Wait, what time is it?
I wish I had never put sleeping on my Google Calendar with repeat forever every day.
That's so funny. You know, I have it on my phone too.
Sleeping?
Mm-hmm. I get the alarms too.
Yeah, well, I'm glad about that too. The thing is, though, I really was hopeful that she was going to be able to get a sleeping pill at the.
Oh, I know.
At the
I mentioned
doctor's.
it twice too.
Yeah, it's the thing is, I knew that I should. I mean, I didn't really think it at the moment, but I should have. I should have thought about it. That I should have been realistic. That it's not as straightforward as it seems to me to be. Like.
Yeah, and I said it straightforward too, but it, you know.
Yeah, but then I know.
But you would be able to talk to them.
I know, and I get it. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not your fault in any way. It's that.
I tried.
It's that. It's easy for people in positions of, I guess, authority or their job or whatever, where they have this jurisdictional thing, to not take you seriously.
I know, it's so annoying. And the thing was too, I'm not gonna lie, like, I was waiting for a while, like, and I just like wanted to leave. I was like,
When I heard you say it the other day, did you say, I'm glad you didn't leave, thank you?
no. I was just saying that I was like, the thing was done. I asked and I didn't want to fight, so.
Well, Lightbulb, we actually sent an email to a psychiatrist tonight. I indicated what I want him to prescribe for Rachel, which is one of 3 possible sleep drugs that I named, although it could be a different one. I would like to see her not taking this bucket of sort of a specific shit like trazodone and Seroquel.
Yeah.
What is that stuff? It is prescribed for bipolar and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really used off-label for sleep, but it's not really good for that because it's not actually a sleep pill. It's an antihistamine. And Seroquel, I'm not sure what Seroquel is exactly.
Seroquel is a mood stabilizer.
A mood stabilizer? Okay. So does that make you sleep?
I don't like that thing. Like, you gain, like, insane weight.
Does it make you sleep?
Yeah, it's supposed to.
But does it make you sleep?
It used to.
Okay, so the thing is, yeah, she needs... What about something more natural like melatonin? That's what the fucking doctor in the hospital said. Melatonin. Melatonin is a placebo. Basically. I mean, it might work a little bit. But people who are like,
That's what they told me at the hospital.
Gosh, I'm having trouble falling asleep before 11 p.m. And then, I sleep slightly fitfully, and I may only get 6 hours of sleep now. And Rachel gets like 3 hours in 4 nights. Like she's not sleeping at all.
Yeah, I'm really.
This is not a melatonin issue. She's taking everything in the world, like shit that any human being that's not like superhuman would be knocked out in a coma from all the drugs that she takes. What I want her to take is simply 1 milligram
Yes.
of Lunesta or what's the other one? I'd like to avoid Ambien if possible because that was a little hardcore.
Was that R?
If there's a new one, maybe it was with an R. There's Lunesta, there's Diagigs or something like that. And anyway, there's 3 relatively new sleeping pills. And they each work in a different way. I want the psychiatrist to say which one he recommends and for her to try that. Because it's my belief, my firm belief, that what we have here is somebody's mistaken carts for horses. Rachel has a problem where she cannot sleep. And when you don't sleep for 4 days, you get psychotic.
Yep.
Everybody does. Anybody does.
Yeah, that's what my PCP told me.
Your PCP?
Yeah, practitioner, whatever.
Oh.
Yeah.
You don't mean PCP, the animal tranquilizer.
No.
Hey, listen. That's what my PCP... Okay, listen. Okay, horse mumbler, I know it's not a placebo. I know it's not actually a placebo. I get it. It's not actually a placebo. It does have a medically understood effect. If you have a specific kind of issue with light, then it can help, provided certain lighting situations are in place. But that's for people who have mild sleep problems. Mild things, like restless, can't get sleep, stuff like that. Not for people who don't sleep for such a long time it makes them psychotic, okay?
Like, I honestly have not slept well since I was 7 years old. And I've always known that I've had insomnia. I've told doctors that I've had insomnia, but they always attribute it to something else.
Listen, I'm not a sleep aid expert yet, but I will be one soon enough. It's true, I did some research tonight, and I'm learning more, and I will...
appreciate that.
You're right that I will be an expert, Megan, but I'm not yet. I just basically started doing the research on it. So, I know what I want to avoid. I don't want her to go on benzos.
No.
and I'd like to avoid Ambien if possible, because I know that's kind of hardcore. They have, the thing about Lunesta is it's only supposedly for temporary insomnia. But the thing is, I imagine us using these pills not every night. I think that if she were to get one good night's sleep out of 2, we'd be way better off than we are now.
Yep, because when I actually do sleep, I sleep hard. Remember, because Hawaii, I was sleeping.
See that, and it shows you how. Look, you just don't understand. I understand what she's going through too, because even prior to getting back onto the Adderall, I had stopped sleeping, more or less. I mean, I was sleeping 4 hours or something.
Yeah.
A night. And it's like once the sleepy week was over, well, I was back to 10-minute bouncy Tom. It's like I can't really stay focused on anything that's laborious for more than about 10 minutes. And then I bouncing around things and feeling pretty cheerful, but not being very sleepy at all. So, and the other thing about sleeping is I know, Horseman Alert, it is important to make sure you have enough melatonin. And melatonin deficiency can aggravate sleep issues, but this is we're in a whole different class of thing here.
Yeah.
This is not, we're not playing t-ball. This is like Major League Baseball 90-mile-per-hour fastball kind of insomnia. This isn't you're the best player in a t-ball team's not going to be able to hit this pitch.
Is it there's a like a tale about a princess who like always wakes up. Like,
Princess and the Pea.
Princess and the Pea, yeah, that's what I used to.
Yeah, I was calling that in my head earlier today.
Yeah, I really am.
I mean, listen to me. This is the kind of shit. Huh? No, I do understand, Horse Mumbler. I understand that some people have a melatonin deficiency, and that it would help a little bit. I get that. I don't want a holistic solution made of multiple small parts. I want one bullet solves it 100%. Knock the fuck out. Like a sleeping pill, not a supplement.
Yeah, I need a sleeping pill.
If I can buy it over the counter, it's not a good enough solution for me.
All I've ever wanted was a sleeping pill.
No, I'm not saying she doesn't need vitamin D. I'm saying we will worry about her getting enough vitamin D after. It was like, what you're saying is, hey, don't fix that broken arm. We haven't attended to her vitamin D yet. No, Horse Mumbler, we'll worry about the vitamin D after we fix the broken arm.
That's funny, Sandy. I wonder who it is.
Yeah, that's a good point, Sandy. That's one of the best points I've heard in a long time. Well, you want to hear Princess and the Pea. So, this is the thing that one of the things Rachel and I were sort of arguing about, although I wasn't even opposing her, I was just like, yeah. So, she can't sleep because she's here. She wants to get a bed and breakfast and sleep someplace else. The thing is, I say, well, why don't you have the master bedroom all to yourself? Nobody's going to bother you. I'll stay there. You got yourself. No. Well, how about you come out here to have that to yourself? No. How about I sleep with you? No, that's not good either. Well, what's the difference between a bed and breakfast and here? We'll all know you're here, even if I don't see you. Whereas, I'll know you're not there. I didn't say
it's shame on me for you certainly are shame happy tonight, Horse Mumbler. I didn't say you said she didn't need a sleeping pill. I said that I'm not going to worry about minor maintenance things until I get this fire put out. And a fire it is, an ongoing blazing fire. In other words, we're still not asleep. She's still not asleep. This is continuing to get worse as longer she is awake. So, I don't doubt the importance of taking good care of your car. But right now it's on fire, so hand me the goddamn fire extinguisher. I don't want to chat here about, it's like, this is not the topic. It's like, what to do with your car's on fire? Well, when it's not on fire, do this.
I have the song stuck in my head.
Which song is that?
The new one.
The new song?
Yeah.
You said she doesn't need a sleeping pill? I didn't say that. Did I say that?
What?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that Horse Mumbler said that you don't need a sleeping pill.
No, you were just saying that melatonin is a supplement.
Yeah. I didn't say you said that at all. Spider-Man is pretty contested, too.
Right? Spider-Man is.
You know what? I think I'm going to make up a superhero called Spider-Man with an O. And Spider-Man is going to be the non-controversial Spider-Man. He's not going to be about spiders, though, because that's controversial. He's going to be about good old-fashioned, wholesome fun. I totally never said that, Horse Mumbler. Okay, I will play it back. You're saying I said that you said she doesn't need a sleeping pill? If I said that, I definitely did strawman you. I'm pretty damn sure I didn't say that. I think you inferred that from something I said that doesn't warrant the inference. Spider Pig?
Yeah.
Never heard of Spider Pig.
No, the Simpsons movie?
Oh, is Spider Pig a Simpsons movie? Spider Pig, huh? Oh,
it was the one, it's the one, joke everyone remembers from the movie. Most people remember.
Well, Spider-Man is not like Spider Pig at all. Spider-Man is, he's a community helper. He's a friend of the people. He goes up to people and says, "How you doing, old chum?" Pats him on the back. I'm Spider-Man. My name's... Well, because it's French, Spider, and my last name is Man, M-A-N-N. But people just call me Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
His arch nemesis, Peeping Tom.
Or Reaching Ron.
Reaching Ron, Peeping Tom. There's also Teeping Palm. Nobody's quite sure what he does.
He's not sure either. He's always asking.
Where you going? Where you going, Palm? I'm going teeping. Teeping? Yeah, going teeping. That's what they call me. Teeping Palm. Spider-Man. Spider-Man is great. That's a great
That's
person.
what I thought too, actually.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
No, I just was Spider-Man, but was spelled with an O instead of an E. That's all. Yeah, his real name is Pitar Parkour. His secret passion is philately. What is philately, you may ask? Let's Google it and find out. What is philately? Philately. Philately. Philately is another word for stamp collecting.
That's pleasant.
Right, it's a good hobby for Spider-Man to have. Philately. Anybody else a philately hobbyist? See, even somebody like me, an intuitive ENTP idea person, I just find myself, I clicked this. It's like I just did it before I even. It's like what and then sure enough, right there, boobs. And next thing you know, you're like, oh, boobs.
Yeah.
Oh, net more boobs. This is why this shit happens. This is why these things exist.
Yep.
Why do I want to look at this? I mean, it's because it's like there's no reason to look at that.
There's a bee drinking from your cup.
I saw that. I thought it was dead. Is it
Oh,
alive?
we did too. I'm not gonna touch it.
I'm not sure.
I thought it was dead too. I wasn't sure. That I was like, no, it's alive. No.
Is it alive with pleasure?
Well, it's probably alive with diabetes.
I'm alive with diabetes. Get diabetes today.
That should be their new slogan.
Right. Diabetes ain't so much a disease as it is an honor. Let me look at the oops-a-doops. There's a list of 50 costumes, so there's 100 reasons to go. Stamp collecting.
Where's Spider-Man?
Or Spider-Man?
Like, yeah, the cosplay of Spider-Man.
I'm not sure. Maybe they had that, or I don't know. Oh, that was all. I see cosplay. That's why you said costumes. Okay. When I didn't see that as. I guess I didn't note the cosplay end of it very much. I saw it in the initial link, but I didn't. I'd forgotten it by the time I got there. Cosplay being like they dress up in costumes and go to conventions and stuff.
Yeah.
Go to comic book conventions. Yeah. Okay.
INFP.
You got the INFPs do that. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Yeah, my first wife and her man after me, whom she also cheated on him eventually, but actually I think they ended up becoming like swingers or something.
Stop.
Regardless, they used to go do that shit, and she was such an FI dom.
Wait.
I don't want ad blocker because lots of sites go, you have an ad blocker. You know? What was I looking for? I forget what I was looking at even. Yes, exactly. That's why I thought the thing. That's why I had to look it up. It's by Tom Lehrer, and it's called As the Judge remarked the day that he acquitted my Aunt Hortense to be smut, it must be utterly without redeeming social importance. Still, I'm son who likes to Fanny Hill, and always will, and it is swell and really filthy. Horace Mumbler, I really appreciate your knowledge of Tom Lehrer. There's not anybody else with whom I can share my enthusiasm for Tom Lehrer that I don't introduce to Tom Lehrer, right? And not anybody else that I've met that's independently a fan of Tom Lehrer before I introduced them to it.
That is just like the
pineapple and olive pizza.
That it's just like the pineapple and olive pizza. As is Horse Mumbler's eagerness to shame me for my straw manning him. We both share that. We both share that habit as well. Which 4 sides do you have? The red, the blue, the green, and the yellow. Oh, that's what's happening. I was like, why is my mouth? Why does the cursor keep moving? Yeah, you misspelled his name though, Desert Anti Yates. Lehrer. Oh, the graphic picture I adore. And no, that's the other verse. If they're hardcore. Yeah, that's a good song. I also, there was another Tom Lehrer song that I like a lot. That's maybe my favorite one, actually. But, that song is fine. I'd have to look at like a track list of his or something to see which ones I really like. I love you, Rachel.
I love you.
We're gonna go to bed, I think, tonight.
I think so too.
It's already midnight, of course. See, for me, that's not really that surprising because I got whatever many hours I got last night. I don't remember. I don't remember when I went to sleep. I know I slept though.
Yeah.
And,
You got.
and then I got up and I took Adderall. So it makes some sense for me to be up at midnight.
Mm-hmm.
I want to point out though to everybody that she is on nothing that brings her up. Nothing at all.
Me?
Yeah. You
No.
don't take any kind of uplifts or anything.
Nothing.
And the things that you take, like marijuana regularly, normally make people tired and put them to sleep if they smoke it enough, you know? It doesn't seem to do that to either of us, really.
No, that's true.
To me either.
No.
It doesn't hurt, but I wouldn't say that it like I never fell asleep from it. Interesting.
Thanks, First Mumbler. Yeah, I don't know it as well as you, apparently. Although I know pretty damn well. I would for an ENTP. I know pretty well for an ENTP. I think these YouTubers shouldn't have such a short comment limit as the rest of us. Oh, you mean the person who's live streaming should be able to write longer things in the chat? I mean, I don't really have time to write things in the chat usually and live stream. Because I can only do one bit of narrative at a time. This is the one problem with this spot this is definitely the best room arrangement in terms of overall space usage.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also a pain in the ass with the door.
Yeah! Like, I really don't like doing that. But I don't mind. I'll go out that door. You know?
Yeah,
No.
that's fine. Yeah, you and I are both pretty good patents, horseman work. Rachel told me I was a know-it-all today.
I did.
You did.
You do know a lot.
Yeah, I was right. I'm sorry for knowing it all, but when you're right, you're right. This is my last cigarette. Big sigh. Let's all do that. Let's all sigh, big sigh. Yeah. Okay, well, big sighs for everyone. So, I'm gonna go stand by that door. instead. I'm gonna get the drink though.
This door's a church. It's
No,
so funny.
I'll get used to it. We get used
I
to
know,
it.
we
just have to
will. We
adjust.
definitely will. It really is like, out of the more recent ones, the best.
If we get in the habit of coming over here, no problem. Because look, this is even easier over here than anywhere else.
Oh,
'cause it's got
cool.
that thing, so
Yeah, no, I really like that there's 2 areas.
there are 2 areas.
Yeah.
Your mom's face and your mom's ass.
Boom.
Boom! I just burned Rachel's mom.
Yeah, I did.
Here you go, sir.
Oh, thanks, babe. I should really get my crack fixed. Yeah.
She's talking about
Yep.
the phone.
My fault. After I said it, I immediately knew how people were gonna take it.
I really should get my crack fixed. It's funny. Ain't nothing wrong with your crack there. Oh, what a kitty wonder. I've got to share the important kitty wonder with the people. There she is. Oh, you can't see her yet. Let me move this out of the way. You still can't see her. There she is. You can sort of see her.
Oh.
She's not in a very filmable spot right now. No one else actually know, in my respect.
Yeah. I mean, I know I can be too. I was always that kid in school who was like, I know, yeah, I know.
Well, you are a knower.
But a lot of people, at least as I've gotten older, I'm actually listening and then saying that I know. And I only say I know when I actually really do know. Before, I was just like, daydreaming and then being like, yeah, I know.
Well, I think what so-called pedants are doing, like me and Forrest Homeboy, we're not actually knowing, we're judging. We're judging people's words for accuracy. It should be called validated alls.
Ooh,
You
validated
validated
alls, yeah.
Stop validating everything
Let me check ya.
with your universal metric. It's so annoying.
Don't you know the particulars?
There we go. That should be good enough. Yes, that's fine. Now it's not too short. Oh, look, it's Cloud. Hi, Cloud.
Hey, Cloud.
How's
Hello,
it going?
children.
Are you feeling good today, Cloud? Feeling excited about life? Feeling curious about the world? Feeling like juggling a fondle? Feel like fondling some produce? Me and Rich are gonna go fondle some produce later. You wanna go with us? Claude has shared with us an important milestone. For the first time in his life, he has shaved his entire body. Well, Claude, let me tell you something. I'd recommend against that. Because it makes little red dots. Little red, like, bumps.
The ingrown hairs?
Ingrown hairs or whatever. But whenever I shave below the belt, I get these awful red bumps. So I stopped doing it. Clean as a whistle. You drop like a stone if you went skydiving.
Took you almost 2 hours.
I think I'd flail a lot more than a stone.
I'm ready to end. If this is what you're saying, is it gone 2 hours?
Yeah.
I'm ready to end it. I don't want to play a song first on the guitar, but anyway, I did. I think I want to play. What's it called? Throwing shade. Too much noise in the data stream.
Mm.
Since I have the chorus for it now.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna try to go to bed.
Hmm?
Then we're gonna go to bed.
Yeah.
And you're gonna go to bed out here.
What?
You're gonna go to bed out here. Or do you want to go to bed in there?
Maybe I'll go. Are you going in there?
Well, I mean, I want to facilitate whatever you think is going to best facilitate you sleeping.
Okay, so I'm thinking I'll start off in there with you, and then if I get like,
Restless.
I'll come out here.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good. Alright, it's now midnight. I'll be in there and done by 12:15, and then if you want to chill with me until then, it's great. If you want to go ahead, that's fine too.
Thanks.
Of course. Okay, so getting a new spot over here. I got a new ashtray. Instead of the ashtray there now, a different pot to put cigarettes into. So
That's good.
well, yeah. I understand that if you are racing and swimming, those races often end measured very precisely because they might touch the wall almost at the same time. Like a 100-yard dash. Or a horse race, I guess.
Squeeze me.
You are exposing. You are exposing. You are exposing by me. Alright, I'm gonna play a song and then I'm gonna go to bed. Because I'm tired.
Can we play?
Sure, you wanna pull some cards?
Mm-hmm.
You pull some cards while I play the guitar and I will play some mystical music for our card pulling, okay? Let's see if I can figure out what sounds mystical. I wish I hadn't assigned myself that adjective. I'm gonna have to think about. I have to put myself in the mindset of an NFP. They're mystical.
Mm-hmm.
I just play something very background and I guess. No, that's not the reason that I want to go. I would not avoid thee. Let the wisdom the tarot provides us give guidance. Hold a card for cloud. Let him know the word.
He's newly
Let
naked.
him learn.
Hairless body.
Hair
This is your majesty. King of cups for you and me. Isn't that nice? I say thee nay. You say me hey. Please don't stand in my way, 'cause I'll say nay. It's over there. You got the card with the lion lady, the card they call strength. You got to have some patience and maybe also a lynx. If you want to put your stuff inside of that lion's mouth, it just might bite you. This one is for whom?
I don't know.
I say thee nay again.
Yeah.
I say thee nay. Not only do you have strength, you also have a rival in success. Congratulations. You're strong at success, strong at a rival. Thanks, CJ O'Connell. Would you like a tarot card too? The tarot says socially distance yourself. You need to seek silence and solace, preserving your health. You got the Hermit, the most withdrawing card. So go lock yourself in the closet and penetrate your anus quite hard. That's the wisdom of the tarot speaking. The wisdom of the tarot speaks. Oh. Listen to the wisdom of the tarot speaks. Who else wants wisdom of the tarot? CJ O'Connell does. Well, that was CJ O'Connell. I think we only have 3 people. It's just you and me now.
Okay, this is you.
Me. I'm dynamic, passionate, cocky, and charming. I'm the Knight of Rods. You can call me Rod or Knight, either way. Oh, there's handball here too. They call me Rod or Knight sometimes. And sometimes they call me the Knight of Rods. I'm cocky, charming. And when I rap, I claim to be hard. Oh, rods, tell the ladies. Look at you riding that horse. That's just the tarot, I said. Rules the universal force. And now a card for Hambo. That was for you, CJ O'Connell. You need to retreat to your hermitage. This is for you, Hambone. Ham biggity 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 bone gets the Page of Swords. What a page. Running around with your swordy rage. Paging me on my pager for drugs. But I already told you I only sell hugs. You should have listened more carefully, Hambo. I said I have hugs for sale. You've been blowing up my cell phone ever since. I think you misheard me.
That was for me. On the page swords? Yeah, that was me.
Your piece of swords?
Was that me or was that Hambo?
That was Hambo.
Oh, that was Hambo. Okay, that was Hambo. Hambo is page swords.
Yes.
Okay, now we have me and you. We got
I love these cards.
the Wisher. I like the 9 of Cups. It's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
And this is King of Swords.
Yeah, so it's your
That's my.
deck
Is it?
too.
Means your deck and my deck are making love right now. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Hey, look, it's Winston's mom's arrived. Winston's mom's arrived. She's still alive, and now she has arrived. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. She's put all of her fairies off to slumber time. Now she's come arrives here and she says I have to rhyme. So I make a song about the fairy bedtime. And then she says, you already used that rhyme.
I pulled a card for Winston's mom.
Oh good, what'd you pull her? Ooh. It looks like you're getting married. Married! Looks like things going well in the Winston's mom spousal town. Welcome to spousal town, where I live. Going to spousal town, gonna give my vows at the altar, my vows at heart. Gonna go to Vegas and play some cards. I say, yeah, yeah. I'm the man of spousal town. What's F, I guess. What's an A? That's right. And Rachel Appaloosa, hold a card, partnership, and Kinrod. Two rods, he said, has a plan. Hopefully it involves a man named Most Eric. That is me.
TwFP Archive.
This is a card for the Archive channel. Magician card. That's a good one.
Yeah.
You're in jubilation. I'm in jubilation.
happy to see that card.
Me too.
I like that
Oh.
little rhythm.
Woo!
Thanks, Rachel. You're a sweet, sweet pal. Alright, I'm going to play the song I wanted to play then. Never go back. So the song I'm going to play is this. It is it's called Throwing Shade, or also called Too Much Noise in the Data Stream. And I just recently discovered I had the chords written down someplace. I didn't know I had them before. So it should make it better to play this than normal. I think I played it yesterday too. Here we go. Much noise in the data stream, loud enough to disrupt everybody's dreams. Frustrations mean mistakes are made. Still it seems everybody just throwing shade. I won't be just another casualty of other people's well-intentioned rules. I used to think that some tomorrow there'd be time for yesterday. It's not the sort of thing that one can borrow. No one really still doing day. Your uncertainty's implicit, just like an unexpected visit from a bunch of men all dressed in blizzards. Won't be just another casualty of other people's well-intentioned rules. I used to think that some tomorrow, and start playing it fast. Too much noise in the data stream, loud enough to disrupt everybody's dream. Frustrations mean mistakes are made. It seems everybody's throwing shade. I want just another casualty of other people's well-intentioned rules. It's a fucking hard song to play, actually. This has always been a hard song for me to play. And the reason is because of this weird strumming pattern I play it with. I'm not sure why I play it with that strumming pattern, so it just sort of emerged that way naturally. And I'm not sure it's the best strumming pattern, but it's actually, I really liked playing a lot of time when I just played with bass notes on it instead. Too much noise in the data stream, loud enough to disrupt everybody's dreams. Frustrations mean
mistakes are made, until it seems everybody's just throwing shade. I won't be just another casualty of other people's well-intentioned rules. I used to think that some tomorrow, every time for yesterday, is not the sort of thing that one can borrow. No one willing still to win day day. Your uncertainty's implicit, just like an unexpected visit from a bunch of men all dressed in blue suits. I won't be just another casualty of other people's well-intentioned rules. What is this? I used to think that some tomorrow there'd be time for yesterday. The end.
Yeah.
Well, friends, thanks so much for being here. Rachel and I, I'm not foregoing. Now who's strawmanning whom? I agree with you that melatonin is worth adding to the things on the table. I'm not opposed to it. Okay? I didn't oppose it anyway. I'm just saying that's not what I'm looking for right now. I'm not looking for something that's not a real solution, not a full, complete solution, you know? And it's like, talk about knowing best. Part of why I'm talking about it the way I'm talking about it is because I've talked to Rachel a lot about it, and it seems pretty clear what her position on the matter is. That what she needs, and has always wanted, and been unable to get because nobody's been able to advocate for her adequately, is sleeping pills. So, even if you're completely correct, from our perspective, it's just another person who's avoiding the thing being said to them about this. And less so for me, probably, than for Rachel, you know. The reality is, Rachel has an actual, I don't even know what you sleeping disorder, I guess, is the disorder.
Yeah, it is.
And
I always considered myself an insomniac. I really did.
You gotta sleep. People gotta sleep, or they start having, their computer stops working, you know? So,
I actually feel like...
the computer stopping working?
Yeah.
You're losing the ability to think and talk. Yeah, that happens to me when I stay up for too long.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Fog all over the place. Inability to, just do anything, really. Just stuck in my head. That's how it is.
I think also, though, horse one word, I think it's kind of dangerous and illogical to play at the margins. Like, for example, you're saying, hey, let's pay a lot of attention to things that have a tiny fraction of the impact. So, like, for example, diet or supplements, stuff like that. They may help a little bit or whatever. But for real problems or real things, you need real solutions. You can't have, holistic solutions. We're not talking about something that is an issue of the holistic, if you're more healthy holistically, things are going to be... We're not talking about the holistic. This is a specific fire that needs to be put out. It's like when you realize something's on fire and needs to be put out, then you kind of get some sense of my perspective on the melatonin suggestion. Melatonin's great maybe for campfires. This is like a towering inferno conflagration. So we're not talking about that sort of thing. Oh, the P and the P. You're both the first P and the other P. You're both the P's. Oh.
kittens.
Oh, beauty.
Yeah.
Oh, the kitty pageant winner. So glorious. I'm so honored to pet you. You're the winner of kitty pageant 1 million times in a row. It's the longest streak ever.
That's a long streak.
Yeah. Do you guys know that? That my cat won the kitty pageant award 1 million times in a row. Alright, I gotta go, guys. I'll see you later. I gotta go to bed. Don't forget to rock and roll.
Bye.
We've been prescribed warm milk with vanilla, butter, and cinnamon. That sounds like labor in the kitchen. That sounds like dishes to do
Yeah,
afterwards.
And a lot of things to put away.
Alright, love you guys. See you later.
Bye.